Hey, how's it going? John from betterenglish.ca. All right, today we're going to look at sentence structure foundational rules. This is the first video that I'm going to do in probably a 5-video series on the foundations of how to join different clauses together in different ways using all the punctuation that we have available to us in English for such purposes, commas, semicolons, using all of our different types of connector words. We've got coordinating conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions, conjunctive adverbs, okay, all of this stuff. By the end of it, we'll have the knowledge to put together big 5 or 6 clause sentences, and we can do it correctly, and we'll know that it's correct, and we'll also be able to manipulate the clauses and change the punctuation accordingly. So let's get down to it. All right, here we go. So I'm going to start off with this little sentence here. Because Bob has 3 arms, it's difficult for him to find shirts and jackets that fit, and he has to have everything custom made, semicolon. Surprisingly, he doesn't seem to mind very much, as the benefits of having a 3rd arm easily outweigh the financial burden. Whew, nice sentence. Strange, but very grammatically correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clauses. Okay, this is a 5-clause sentence. By the end of these videos, you will understand exactly how this sentence is put together. So let's get down to it. All right, are you ready? Let's go on a ride. Today we're going to start off with the very beginning here. Number 1, we need to know what a clause is. So what are clauses? If anybody asks you what's a clause, if anybody asks you what a clause is, you should tell them subject plus verb, aka SV. AKA means also known as, in case you didn't know that. So subject plus verb, that's what a clause is. It can have more than that. It can have objects. It can have subject complements. It can have adverbials. But if it has a subject and a verb, then it's a clause. So we can have, for an example, John wept. John cried. Let's just put John cried. We've got our subject, and we've got our verb. So that is a clause. Okay, so let's move on. Next, we've got types of clauses. And again, this is just a limited description of this. There are other types of clauses that we could consider. But what I want to talk about are simply 2 types of clauses. I'm going to call them independent clauses, and we're going to eventually have dependent clauses. But let's take a look at the independent ones first. Okay, as we know, it has the word clause in it, so it's got a subject and a verb. And independent means that it can stand on its own. It can be a sentence by itself. It doesn't have to be by itself, but it could be by itself. So again, we have our example from above, John cried. That would work. That is an independent clause. Let's move on to the second type. Dependent clauses. Well, obviously we can guess that it's something different from independent. If independent clauses can be sentences by themselves, then dependent clauses obviously cannot be a sentence by itself. Okay, so it cannot be a sentence by itself. Now, the way we get a dependent clause, it's still a clause, so we still have subject and verb, but this cannot be a sentence by itself because something has happened here. I'm going to put this in red. We add something called a subordinating conjunction. I'm just going to shorten that to subordinator. We add that to the front of our clause. And as soon as you do that, the sentence is no longer complete. So, of course, you might be asking, John, what are some subordinators? Well, it's a whole category of words. And later I'll give you a list of such words, an actual chart that you can access that will give you a fairly comprehensive list of all the different kinds of connectors, including subordinators. But for now, let me just give you a few example subordinators. The really well-known ones are because, if, when, although, while. Okay, there's so many of these. The time ones, after, before. These are all subordinators. And you can probably feel it if we take one of these and put them at the front of a clause. If it rains. Okay, by putting that little if right there, you know that that's not a complete sentence. If it rains, yes, keep going, keep going. So by putting that if there, it's no longer complete. Also, although Bob has 3 arms. Okay, you're like, yes, John, finish that for me. Although Bob has 3 arms, right, it's just not a finished thing. If I got rid of this, Bob has 3 arms. You'd be like, okay, yeah, that could be a sentence by itself. That's complete. But with that subordinator at the front of it, and as I said, subordinator is my short form for subordinating conjunction, if you care. I just call it a subordinator. Okay, so this is a really big difference here. The independent clauses, they stand alone. They could stand alone. For our purposes, I'm going to highlight independent clauses yellow. I'm going to highlight dependent clauses green. Okay, so we've got an important distinction here. We've got the different types of clauses, independent clauses and dependent clauses. And in my next video, we're going to start looking at the different types of sentences that we make when we start using these independent and dependent clauses. So stay tuned for that.